see if this works. Everybody pray it worked. Okay, good. All right. I'm reading a book. And how many people were at the nutrition workshop? I know Kurt was there. So we went full carnivore with adding some fruit and honey. And I'm even starting to figure maybe we could start putting some vegetables in there if we find vegetables that are really super low in phytotoxins. Because there's stuff, I mean, I think sometimes making a blatant, like, a blanket statement like cut all vegetables out doesn't make any sense. But I'm going to do my research and figure some stuff out because I kind of miss a few vegetables, especially celery. But that was all about getting you to eat super clean. And it kind of boils down to if you stop eating what? Garbage and trash and start eating food. And that's pretty much what I do now. I did eat some, I did have a taco tonight, which means I had some corn, so. Hang me up, but I was hungry. Okay, hangry at the same time. So we really learned to eat foods that were more organic, but also eating foods that weren't super toxic. And what, from reading the carnivore code, I learned that there's a lot of plant. I mean, I knew this already, but the lectins in a lot of foods from reading Plant Paradox was super important. And then also now learning about the oxalates in food, which I think is a huge problem, especially for me, because I was starting to have some, like, not severe, but I was having some lower back stiffness and neck stiffness. And since I cut out the oxalates, I not only feel a lot better as far as that is concerned, but also I think my brain fog is even better. And the other thing that's by far much better is my sleep has been a lot better. So I'm going to stick with it. And the thing is, what I'm going to probably do is reintroduce things and see if it screws me up. But I like to use my own body as a laboratory. The thing is, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, just eat super clean. Try this stuff. I mean, it may work for you, it may not. I mean, I know people that are vegans that really aren't that healthy, to be honest with you. But, we're all different biologically, biochemically, and what works for me may not work for you. But I think a lot of the premises in those books is about just minimizing toxicity in your body, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And then, so I was a chemistry major back in the 70s, and I was really into chemistry, organic chemistry, and that's kind of what got me into getting into water, because I know that there's a lot of crap in the water that's not supposed to be there. So let's get into that right now. You are not separate from the whole. You are one with the sun, the earth, the air. You don't have a life. You are life. We're all part of this big, huge planet that we're on, and this planet has been continually really polluted. And that's why I do what I do. I try to get this place cleaned up for the kids and the lives that you guys have, not only from a freedom standpoint, but Jesus, ecologically, what's going on in the planet too. Sometimes it's overwhelming. 10 factors of health. You guys already know this. At the premises, I like to look at what I do as not just pain relief. That's what everybody comes in here for, right? Everybody comes in because they got back pain, and that's fine with me. That's the lure that gets you in here. But really, what we do is we just basically upregulate and make you just function at a higher level and just turn the juice up. Because if you're, basically it's a biohack to upregulate your body to function at a higher level, and you're not going to get sick. I never get sick, but I do a lot of things right, and I don't do a lot of things wrong, because when I do a lot of things wrong, I feel it. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I don't party anymore, because when I used to party, I could handle it when I was a kid, but then as I got older, I couldn't handle it anymore, so I stopped doing that kind of stuff. Nutrition, I've been teaching this since the 70s as well. I went through every different phase of macrobiotics to low fat, no fat, to all the keto, everything that's out there, and it kind of boils down to just eat food, stop eating crap, okay? Exercise, I went to the beach today. I got there a little too late. The wind was on it, so what did I do? I did my beach workout, run in the sand, pull-ups, push-ups. You gotta, all these are part of the spokes in the wheel. You can't just think, I'm gonna eat right, I'm gonna be healthier, I'm just gonna get chiropractic, or I'm just gonna be happy, or I'm gonna get, and one of the most important premises that we learn is you need to get better what? Where is it? Sleep. Because I'm reading a book right now on Alzheimer's. I want to do a whole workshop on that, because that's going to be the #1 disease. It's going to pass up heart disease and cancer. Because of what? The cumulative toxicity that we have on the planet. I'm not laughing, I'm laughing. Okay. And then we're big on grounding, so I ran with my shoes off in the sand today. We just had the detox workshop, and I still have a couple kits left if anybody wants to join Kurt and I in doing the detox together. And some of the things I'm learning in the Alzheimer's book, there's 3 reasons people get Alzheimer's. This one is because of inflammation in the body, so we need to learn to lower the inflammation. Am I having one of those nights tonight? I think I'm sort of having one of those nights. It's okay. I'm getting rusty or something. I could have done the workshop yesterday. I was 100% yesterday. So I have that cycle. Sometimes I sleep really good, and the next night's not as good. That's my problem, okay? So inflammation, sorry. And then the other one's whether you're getting enough proper nutrition to feed the brain, and then the third one's the toxicity. And that's what we're going to address today, because the number one way you're being toxified is through what? Your water. So the bottom line is, I know that's probably the most important appliance you have in your house. I mean, I think a fridge is important too. You don't want to be eating rotten food. But, I mean, if you're bathing in hideous water, the problem is, too, once you get filtration in your house and then you travel, it's horrible. Like, I stayed at the Vagabond Inn. Has anybody ever stayed at the Vagabond Inn before? I went to Mammoth last weekend, and it was sold out, so I stayed in Bishop, which I don't care. I'm not, did some glamping. I took my crock pot and made my bone broth with oxtail soup, and then when I was done, snowboarding, I went, and my dinner was already done. I just walked in my room. Okay, but when you take a shower like it's somewhere in Bishop or something, the water is just horrible. And the thing is, you're so desensitized to that chlorine smell just from the fact that you're always in it, unless you're using filtration. And the thing is, it's not only important for your skin, and your skin's your biggest organ, right? And taking a shower in hideous water is no different than drinking hideous water. I mean, the fact that you're drinking clean water and bathing in hideous water, I mean, you're still loading up on toxins. So I think I know it's super important to do both. And if you can't do the whole house just yet, at least get a shower filter so you're not bathing in horrible water. But then again, if you don't have whole house, all your clothes that you wear, the linens on your bed are going to be all toxic as well. So you got to, to me, I don't like to be toxic. I mean, I'm a freak about all that stuff, especially EMF in my house and electrical energy, all that stuff. And be happy. Just be happy. And we'll have this is a big workshop that everybody loves. It's the cannabis mushroom workshop, which we got to bring back. Okay. It's a good one, though.
Because you hand out samples.
Yeah, we do. We had brownies one time, but they were not marijuana brownies, but some people got high. There was a placebo high that they got. Okay. And one of the other things I'm really big on lately is I do breath work every day too. I think that's another way to just really detoxify your mind at the end of the day. And meditation. All right, so you can live not very long without nerve flow. Like if you cut your head off, you're pretty much done, right? You're done. Like that, you can be a chicken and run around. And there's some people that can actually live without oxygen for 20 minutes. I think that's pretty tough. I mean, I've done 4.5 minutes before in the tank, the hyperbaric chamber. You can only go 7 days without water and you're done, okay? And then you can go 40 days without food, but you need sunlight as well. Has anybody read that book? I know Kurt, I gave that book to Kurt. It's a great book if you want to learn how to just get into breath work and also doing the ice baths to help take you to the next level. I don't know why that slide was in there. This is a great book. Does anybody want to try to say this guy's name? Batman Jilajid. Your body's many cries for water. You aren't sick. So 50% of the people that have whatever disease that they have they're not sick. They're just basically dehydrated. So with that, I think I'm going to drink a little water. And you always want to drink your water out of what? Glass. You want something like the glass bottle over there. Like when I did go to Bishop / Mammoth this weekend, I took 4 big jugs of water that were in glass bottles, okay? Because I'm not drinking water never drink water out of a faucet. That's why I really don't even like to drink. I don't even drink water at restaurants. I don't trust it, so I always take my own water. I mean, I'm weird, okay?
I do that.
I do that too.
Maybe I'm not the only weird person.
You drink water.
I just look at people drinking, trusting that. I was in Canada once, and she was bragging to me about the fact that they don't have any fluoride in the water. I go, smell it. It smells like a friggin' chlorine pool. And she smelled it, and she goes, you're right. It does smell like chlorine. I go, so just because you have fluoride in your water doesn't mean it's still good. I mean, you've got all the other crap in there that we're going to get into. All right, that's the book. It's a really good book. It goes through all the different things that, and I'll talk about those in a minute. I've been doing this every day. I've even upped it to a teaspoon of sea salt. So the first thing I do in the morning is I get up and I drink about a liter of water with the sea salt in it, and I put the apple cider vinegar and the lemon juice, and I put a little BioSil in there because I like to get silica in my water.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to Mark about possibly putting that, but we could probably add that later. That's what I do. And that gets everything rolling in the morning, and then after that I will have my bulletproof coffee. And today I did have a steak for breakfast because I was hungry. Okay. And I had a steak for lunch.
As long as it's grass-fed.
Carnivore, yeah. The 4 main minerals in water: calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium. I'm going to let you talk about that, Mark, okay? Sports drinks are horrible. I mean, really, I don't drink much else other than water. I drink water. Sometimes I'll drink soda water, and then every once in a while I'll drink one of my buddies. He's got some cannabis beers that he brings me in, which helps me sleep, okay? What else do I drink? Oh, I'll have coffee. Coffee. Okay, those are my 3 things.
Water days.
So these are symptoms of thirst: fatigue, irritability, anxiety, depression, insomnia, anger, impatience, attention span, shortness of breath, and craving. What's that?
Oh, she's like, that's me. I was like, oh, you need to drink coconut
Yeah.
water.
Asthma is another one. Allergies. So.
Yep.
Yep.
My friend switched water.
Dehydration?
Breathe better.
Causes
Yes.
asthma?
Yes, because if your lungs, see what happens if your body senses you don't have enough water, it's going to coat all the organs, especially your lungs, with mucus to prevent more water loss. So if you drink enough water, the body doesn't need it. Same thing like my dad. He's always complaining about his allergies. I go, dude, it's like friggin' Santa Ana winds, number 1. Number 2, you haven't drank any water because you don't like to drink water. And you always ask me, what should I do about this? Like, I always tell him to drink more water, and he always gets pissed off at me. I go, why do you ask me questions? It's the same thing. He's got Grover's disease. The number 1 cause of Grover's disease is, guess what? Drinking alcohol. I said, you need to cut back on alcohol and drink more water. And he always gets mad at me when he asks for it. So yeah, allergies and asthma, a lot of the times have to do with the fact that you're not drinking enough water. Obesity happens to be a big problem in this country especially, and it causes a lot of the other issues. Like, I see a lot of degeneration in people's hips, and then they have to have hip replacements. They have spinal degeneration from being overweight. And a lot of times, you're not hungry, you're what? You're thirsty, and then people eat and eat and eat, and when they should actually be drinking more water. Stress, depression. Has anybody ever had a hangover in here? Anybody not had a hangover in here? You probably haven't had a hangover. Yeah. Okay, good.
She's a good girl.
She is a good girl, and she's young, so she better not have a hangover. So when you have a hangover, you wake up in the morning, your brain is severely what? Dehydrated, right? And the best thing for that would be to have another cocktail. No, it would be the best thing would be to do is have some water to help rehydrate the brain. It also causes stress, chronic fatigue. I mean, your body needs water for every function in the body, especially making energy in the mitochondria. High blood pressure. So what happens to your blood? When your blood is not properly hydrated, it gets what? Thicker or thinner? It gets thicker, and then your heart's going, dude, I got to pump the sludge through the arterial system so your blood pressure gets increased. So 50% of people with high blood pressure could lower their blood pressure just by drinking more water. Okay? High cholesterol, same thing. Your body's going to put down plaques and stuff to protect from the high blood pressure, so that's all part of the same cascade of heart disease. Your intestines, oh my God, people are constipated. Some people go like once a week. And the biggest problem is this colon needs to be hydrated. If it doesn't get hydrated, then the poop gets stuck. So it's important to make sure you get proper hydration. Headaches, again, because your brain is dehydrated. All these are simple remedies for the fact that you're not drinking enough water. And what's the right amount of water? it depends on who you talk to, right? Figure out what's right for you. I know I need to drink about 3 liters a day. You probably don't need to drink that much. I just talk a lot all day, and I'm very high energy. And the thing is, if you're working out a lot, then you're going to need more water than if you don't. There was something I was listening to, some water podcast on the way to the Mammoth. That's what I do now. I listen to podcasts on the way to the Mammoth. I was listening to the Huberman Lab, and they were talking about that if you're working out, you should take your weight, which mine's 150, divide it by, 30, and that comes with how many ounces of water you should drink every 20 minutes while you're working out. So I worked out at the beach today. I probably drank 1 liter of water in an hour, okay? I don't know how many ounces that is. I know I drank enough water. And if you're going to drink a lot of water, you got to put some salt in there once in a while too, okay? Well, it's like another thing is like people, like my dad goes, I wake up in the morning and I'm always stiff. I go, yeah, you don't all your joints, like everybody in here, I always recommend that you drink more water and take what? Collagen, right? Because collagen is going to help build the disc and the facets and the joints and all that. So it's super, like knees, everything, all your joints are lubricated with synovial fluids that's made out of water, not Diet Coke, which is horrible. Yes?
Why do you say put salt in the water?
Because a lot of times if you're drinking too much water, you're going to start to lose electrolytes.
Okay, so
And that actually happened to me. My sodium got really low.
And the Himalayan salt is the
Yeah.
best.
Well, Himalayan, you could use Celtic sea salt. There's Icelandic salt. There's Arctic salt.
Just don't use.
And I'm
table
using
salt.
Redmond's. What's that?
Don't use table salt.
Don't use table salt, no.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I learned the hard way.
I also read today like cucumbers and certain fruits hold a lot of water.
Yeah, so if you're juicing, you probably need to do less water drinking. Yeah.
If you're eating more fruit, like when I did fruitarianism for a little bit, and I drink less water because like all the food I'm eating has water.
Has
in
a
it.
lot of
Yeah.
that's what I read.
Yeah.
So that's what happens to the disc over time. A lot of times people go, well, how did they get like this? So these discs between the vertebrae are like sponges, and if they're not properly hydrated, they're over time going to compress. And then as they compress more and more, then you get less fluid in the joints and less fluid. And there's joints back here that need to be lubricated. So it's super important to keep your spine healthy, and that's why I have you drink water, do the inversion, decompress your spine, do the collagen, which rebuilds all that. And then by adjusting you, and we're putting the motion in those segments, which also keeps them healthy. Like you all brush your teeth, right? And then you floss to keep everything healthy. There's a lot of things you can do to your spine to keep it from prematurely degenerating, because when you get to this stage, you die. So we want to prevent this from happening. So that's why I look at chiropractic as a biohack to prevent you from prematurely dying. It's just a longevity hack is what it is. Depression, decrease antioxidants, cope with toxic waste metabolism, decrease tryptophan, tyrosine. Skip this slide. It's too much. Okay, so these are some of the things. Like kidney stones. Why do you think you get kidney stones? One is because you have too many oxalates, right? That we learned at the other workshop. The other was if you're not drinking enough water, all these salts will crystallize into stones. Your skin is super. Like if you look at somebody like, let's use somebody like that would hang out in front of a liquor store and they smoke a lot of cigarettes and they drink a lot of booze. Their skin always looks horrible. Have you ever noticed that before? And then if you look at somebody that's super hydrated and eats fruits and vegetables, maybe not so much vegetables, eats super clean and doesn't eat a lot of garbage, their skin's going to be a lot healthier. I mean, I'm in the sun all the time surfing, and part of the reason I think my skin looks really good is because of the fact that I drink plenty of water, I take collagen, which is important for all the soft tissues, but also I use the CBD salve that we sell here. Like whenever I get a little bit too much sun, I'll put that stuff on and it just stops my skin from drying out. Dry eyes, obesity, gout, it's the same thing. Gout's just stones in your toes, okay? Hot flashes and chronic fatigue syndrome. I mean, so what I'm just saying is water will really prevent a lot of diseases because it upregulates the mitochondria to function where they're supposed to. Asthma, allergies, I already talked about all that stuff. Chronic dehydration and acid buildup, heartburn, dyspeptic pain, angina, low back pain, bulimia, migraine, all this stuff. So these are all symptoms. How much water should you drink? 2 quarts per liter a day. What does that say? 2 liters a day. I just tell you, try to drink 2 to 3 liters a day. I don't do quarts or ounces or anything. And water intake 2 to 3 liters right there. And I don't like to drink a lot of water before bed either, because that way I'll have a little bit of chamomile tea and I do my calm and a little tiny bit of water, which is the magnesium supplement. Because I don't like to get up. And like Sunday night, I didn't get up all night. Thank the Lord. More fruits and veggies. More fruits and less veggies, as we learned at the carnivore workshop. But anyways, questions about that, I'll save afterwards to answer that. This is a great book. The number one way. He says in the book that you're being killed. Killed is what he used, not me. I don't use that. Bad water is right there. Let's look at Newport Beach water. What do we got in our water here? So some of the things like everybody, does anybody go to a dentist that still recommends fluoride? Good. Yes, fluoride is really just a carcinogen. Aluminum. And that's where the other things I want to do, which I should have done before I started the cleanse, is I got to check again the levels of my aluminum, mercury, strontium, barium, which are all toxins that get wedged in your brain and can cause a lot of early Alzheimer's conditions. What else we got over here? Aluminum fluoride. Same thing here. You have high levels of aluminum and fluoride. So these are some of the toxins in your drinking water. Fluoride, chlorine, lead, mercury. Mercury also comes from the fish. There's large amounts of arsenic. All these toxins will cause premature cognitive issues as you get older. DDT, glyphosate, whatever they spray on the ground gets in the groundwater and then it eventually gets into your water. So that's why it's important to clean all this crap out. In point of fact, fluoride causes more human cancer, death, and causes it faster than any other chemical. That's why you got to get the fluoride out of your water. So when Mark did the whole house system for me, the first tank gets most of the crap out, but then you need a separate tank just to get the fluoride out. I was like, I mean, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it 100% so that I'm not bathing in fluoride as well. Fluoride side effects, there's a lot up there, okay? And cancer risk for people who drink chlorinated water is 93% higher than those whose water does not contain fluoride. What's that?
Oh, she was just like, your mom. I was like, forever.
And the thing is, like, everybody's like talks about the microbiome all the time, and the thing is, if you're drinking chlorinated water, you're probably killing off a good portion of your microbiome, which is a big component of your immune system. So that's why if you have decreased immunity, you're going to have higher preponderance of having things like cancer. So there's chlorine. There's also the fluoride in there. There's the arsenic. There's radioactive uranium in there. I just talked about that. And then we have things like what happened in Michigan. What city did that happen?
Flint.
Flint, Michigan, yeah.
It's still like that.
I don't even, what's that?
I think it's still.
What's interesting too, that's about this picture, it says toxic vaccines. They actually admitted it. It's like, I think people are starting to wake up. Pharmaceutical runoffs in your drinking water, not only from your neighbor or from growth hormone steroids, for all the animals and pets. And it's just, that's what I'm concerned about, how we just use the ocean as a toilet or a dump site. All right. 25% of, and then most tap water, or most bottled water is just tap water. So it's, again, you buy a system, you make your own water, you know it's clean, and you put it. Arsenic causes prostate, liver, and lung cancer, skin, nasal passages. And then we spray all our foods with all kinds of toxic chemicals that leach into the water. And plastic bottles are not good because of all these xenoestrogens, which are chemicals that mimic estrogen, that can affect obviously things like breast cancer. We talk about that a little bit at the Women's Health Workshop, which is coming up soon. And iodine is depleted with all these other chemicals in there, and that's why people have a lot of thyroid issues. So I mean, the thing is, your chemistry is so important, and if your chemistry is off from all the crap that we ingest either through drinking or bathing, then we're going to end up having specific health issues. All right. Who wants to talk next? Okay.
I'll go.
Okay, Rick's going to talk about the whole house systems and 44
How do I follow that?
Oh, dude, it was easy. I was friggin'...
So, guys, one of the things that Billy's talking about is something that you can actually completely take control of in your own home. A lot of this stuff that you see up there with a capital H S-H-I-T is stuff that you really can't deal with. You just try to stay away from it. But between Mark and I and what Billy's doing, these are things that allow you to control your own home living environment, which is so important. And the two most important things in your home are what? They're going to be water and they're going to be air. And so we're on the water side of that. My company's been around for a lot of years, and as Billy said, we've worked for several decades together. We do the whole house filtration side for innate water. My company's Pure Elements. And our focus is on removing the chemicals, so the organics, the pesticides, the chlorine, which is now, Billy, by the way, it's really chloramines. A lot of that's antiquated.
Okay.
So we keep ramping up disinfectants to make sure that we're getting safe water. We don't want typhoid coming to our front door, alive and well. So California is an example. It's been using chloramines for more than 25 years. Chloramines are taking chlorine a step further and adding ammonia into the mix. And the story behind that is that when you take basic free chlorine that was, the bactericidal kill for 1 million years, and you mix that with fecal matter and decaying leaves and organics and things, you create, I don't know if I was going to point them out, I don't know if I saw them up there, but you create a whole host of disinfection byproducts, they're called. And these things are largely carcinogenic. So like our society today, so many of these things, it's not on those two.
I know, this
So,
is not great stuff.
So many of these things are under the legal limit. So I don't really have a problem with your municipalities because they are all meeting the federal standards. I have great issues with the federal standards. So I'm sure you guys all love the EPA and everything doing stuff safe for us. Well, not so much. So it's kind of like, let me give you this water, and there's this toxin in it, or this carcinogen. And oh, by the way, at that level, it shouldn't really bother your body too much. You should be pretty much safe. So the bottom line is to take control and take all those things out. But when you use chlorine and you create these disinfection byproducts, and there's more than 2,000 of those things in the water, what's happened over the years is the chlorine levels have been going up, and the disinfection byproducts levels went up. I remember 25 years ago, as he points out my age, that there was no legal limit for all these carcinogens, these disinfection byproducts. When California came, they started jabbing lab rats, and they go, whoa, these things are causing cancer. And they said, we better set a federal limit for this. And I remember when they set the limit, that metropolitan water in LA was at 1.5 times the legal limit. So the answer for all these municipalities all across the country, and the primary cause of the Flint, Michigan water problem, is chloramines, and that's chlorine and ammonia. When you put ammonia in with the chlorine, what happens is you make much less of these disinfection byproducts. So now that the municipalities can meet the federal standards for all of us, but what happens is a lot of stuff. The whole thing, the whole soup, the chlorine and the ammonia, the ammonia dumbs down the ability for the chlorine to have its bactericidal effect. So when you got bacteria in the water, you just got to add more of it. So these levels have been going up and up and up. California is a great example of that. When this chloramines first came out, they were at 0.5 part per million. Today I'm seeing them in Laguna Niguel as high as 6.7. So that's a 13-fold increase in 20 years. So, and that's eating pipes, that's doing all kinds of other stuff beyond our bodies. So the bottom line is these things, so many of them are gaseous chemicals, and so what we want to do with whole house filtration is remove those things at the front door. So we've got the disinfection byproducts. The chloramines are much, much, much harder to get out than just basic chlorine. A basic, simple Amazon filter will do a good job on chlorine, but none of us are faced with that, and the ammonia, chloramines will go right through them. So there's a very succinct process that we do in our whole house systems. Every one of those has to be designed around each municipality. So one that goes in Ladera Ranch is going to be completely different than one that goes in Newport Beach. Same ingredients inside. different proportioning depending on what's going on. And when we look at these water quality reports, this is how we judge what's been happening. These are real valuable, you guys. You can Google your municipality, and this by federal law is required to come up, and you can take a look. So, quick lesson on how to read one of these and kind of get a feeling for what's going on. There's three categories in here. There's MCL, that's the legal limit. So you always take a look at the legal limit. Remember, your municipality is judged on averages. So over a year, their average on any contaminant has to be below the legal limit. And so then they come up with an average, and that's what they're judged on. And then the really key one when you guys look at your water quality report is this one right here, range of detections. So what they got to tell you is, hey, we did 5,000 tests for arsenic last year, and we saw the highest level we saw was X. And when you read these reports, it's kind of shocking. I don't want to go through that one, but you will find something like, use arsenic as an example. Something with a legal limit of 10. The municipality is at 5.7 average, so they're golden. But the range of detections is 3 to 15. And so that means on any given day, you could have 1.5 times the legal limit of that contaminant. So when we do these, we're designing around that highest level of detection in the last year. And these are actually really valuable because if somebody comes to sell you a water system and they just do a test at your sink at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, that's one snapshot. And I guarantee you if they go back 3 days later, or sometimes even 3 hours later, you can have completely different water parameters because these guys are shifting where they're purchasing the water, where the sources are. Is it imported? Is it well water? What's the mix? All these things, they're all completely changing. So you got the disinfection byproducts, you got the chloramines you got to get out, you got a whole bunch of other new things, PFAs and PFOs. That's the big new forever chemicals, and they're called that because they actually live in the environment forever. They never dissipate. So you're starting to see some things happening, some movements towards some legal limits on those, and those are relatively easy to get out, but it's just a whole host of another 2,000 things. Pharmaceuticals, you saw it, right? The disposal of stuff, and people, they throw their pills down the toilet, or we all pee, right? Syringes, all the stuff that's getting in there. So the bottom line, guys, is that we're very effective at putting a barrier up at the front door. And Billy mentioned it, and I'm very passionate about this. The bath and shower, in my research, in my opinion, is actually the greatest area of potential harm or exposure to the carcinogenic stuff, more so than the drinking water. Because, as he mentioned, your skin is your largest organ surface area, and these things are aerosol. So you're taking them in through your pores, and you're taking them in when you breathe, right? So you're taking them right in your lungs. Those are a direct shot into the body. And, if I give you guys a glass of water to drink, at least you have the organs and the digestive tract and things to do a little filtering before you're hit with it. So they're both extremely important. But my philosophy is to treat from the outside in your home, kind of look at it that way. And I know that's contrary to chiropractic. But so the bottom line is we want to get these gaseous chemicals and carcinogens and all these things out of our bath and shower water. They hang out in the steam. If anybody has small children, these things, they live as long as 4 to 6 hours in the house, just because you took a bath. And they're all throughout everywhere, pervasive in the home. So they're just gone when we do that properly. So very, very important, and I think that it's a great area to take control of everything. And I know, Lynn, you probably love yours, right?
Well, I was just gonna say, the first thing I noticed after mine went in was when I turned my sink on, I had this freshness in the air that I had never noticed before. Like, I never noticed what was there, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, the air is like fresh.
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super important, you guys, and it's some bucks to invest in, but I love the way Billy always talks about it. If you got a 4x4, you're gonna spend a lot more money on wheels than you will on one of these, So
Well, it is so funny too, because I had a patient come in yesterday, and they had already, I probably shouldn't say this, but they'd spent $15,000 just on their dog, the dog's health, and then they try to bring him here and see if we can help. It's like, so I know people put their money in stuff, and it's just, you should, I think, number one, even if you do have pets, which I think people love their pets more than they love their kids or themselves, Is that true or no?
I've seen it. I've seen it.
I've
I've seen it. It's been a lot of
I don't
crazy
have
things.
kids, okay? But, you know, people always complain that they don't have money to spend on stuff, but then you see them spending money on just, not that pets aren't important, but they'll spend $15,000 on a dog, so.
So
Or wheels for their car, purses, or.
yeah, I love that analogy. So guys, another couple of things that are really important when you do whole house filtration, it has got to be a fully automatic self-cleaning system. So when you guys go online, you go to Amazon or go, you know, look at the low-end filters and everything, so many times they're very simply in and out filters, and they completely lose efficacy, sometimes as soon as like maybe 3 months after going in, because they're static. You got a tank, you plugged it on, and water's going through it, and all the stuff that's in there sits like it does. When you have a control valve and a mechanism by which something can clean itself once a week, what happens is you not only move this stuff and swirl it around and allow it to scrub and keep itself fresh and clean, but you repack it in a completely new configuration. So if I got stuff in the tank and it just sits like that, everywhere between my fists is totally worthless surface area or space to take anything out. But if I can move it around, scrub it, have it end up like that tomorrow, that's all completely new, fresh surface area. It's like getting a new filter. So it will reduce maintenance, it will increase efficiency and effectiveness, and it's very, very important. So there are a lot of differences when you guys, if you get in the shopping mode, there's a lot of stuff out there. You can find stuff out there. You can go to Home Depot and get a nice, you know, machine from overseas. But bottom line is those are throwaway things, and if you're really concerned about health, you have to zero in on that. And most water companies in our industry focus on dealing with hard water problems, which is an aesthetic issue. It is not a health issue. And if you do it with a traditional water softener, you create some health issues. Especially, shouldn't be drinking it, especially if you got low sodium or no sodium diets, hypertension, high blood pressure, any of those things. So traditional water softeners, you know, that's kind of the way of that's where the herd is. So we do deal with hard water problems. We do that in a very effective manner without the use of salt or any chemicals, and everything we're doing is fully environmentally sound, salt-free, and all of those things. So in combination, we are able to knock down the hard water problems in terms of assets, prevent pinhole leaks in any house that is still copper. And just give you one more tip it's just a personal tip, and I really get in trouble on this one. If you are going to remodel, if you are going to build a house from the ground up, or you've got some portion of something you got to repair, I implore you to stay with copper. Copper is absolutely the most healthful choice for material, because nowadays it's all plastic, and so my wife will just say, hot water and plastic, what could go wrong, right? Right. So the bottom line is the newer plastic pipes are all off-gassing. We know that, and just like the water district, they are doing it at levels that the EPA says, oh, you're cool, we'll certify you. It really shouldn't hurt you too bad, you know, at those levels. But if you're given the choice, copper is always the best because it's slightly bacteriostatic. It's twice the life at 50 years versus 25. And it doesn't introduce anything foreign whatsoever into the water. So the right answer always is a house with copper plumbing with good whole house filtration and salt-free water conditioning. So, and there are certain things, I'm going to segue to you, Mark. There are certain things in here. We can do a good job on fluoride, but a perfect solution starts with augmenting that with the drinking water system under the sink. There's certain other things, some of the radionuclides, like uranium. And
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
We're
not able to get those out with whole house filtration, but you can protect yourself with the drinking water system. So I would let you go on.
So you can't get the radioactive uranium out?
It's very, very hard to get out whole house. You have to use special resins, and then it runs like a softener where it runs with salt. So think about the dichotomy. It's illegal, it's deadly, right? So if you remove it from the water, you got a thing with a bunch of it in it, and you can't get rid of that. If you remove it from the water and you have a thing that self-cleans and then washes it off down the drain in its cleaning process, fully
good to know,
it's
Rick.
fully illegal.
It's good to know.
But in reality, it was there before, right? I mean, I work I get these state park guys call me. We got to get this uranium out of this well, and I'm like, what do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a deal here that I'm going to give to you, Lynn. That is just a sign-up thing. So if you're interested in what we're doing or what Mark's doing or either or any, be sure and just write your stuff down and give it back to Lynn at the end. I'm going to hang out for questions and things. Are there anything that you guys have burning?
Well, I know
right now?
my system cleans more than once a week, doesn't it?
You got 2 tanks.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we're staggering you,
Okay.
and then you have 2 of them. I'm happy to help you guys on all that stuff. We're doing, when we coordinate with Billy on the whole house side stuff, we're offering 20% off on this stuff. So
What's more,
What's the
20% off or
typical
$400?
20%'s a heck of a lot more than
So I should
$400.
change that then?
Yeah, you need to lose that, or give that to the other guys, not the special guys. So okay, guys. So I'm around after. Yeah.
20%?
Yeah.
So a couple questions.
Sure.
On the whole house, when you're hooking that up and your plumbing comes in, you get your main water line coming in, and it goes to all your hose bibs outside and everything. What does that do to the time factor of how long your system's going to?
It generally doesn't affect the maintenance schedule because we're tied to, my company's tied to a large grouping of the healthcare community, longevity guys, traditional, non-traditional. City of Hope will send us people with cancer, or Gerson will send us people, Cancer Center for Healing. So what we've done is we've set a very proactive maintenance schedule. Those guys won't send people to us if they think that we're gonna push it and somebody could be in their room, sleeping at night thinking everything's great, and all kinds of bad stuff's going through there. So as long as you follow a maintenance schedule, which is once every 3 to 4 years you just need a touch, then I don't really care if you have hose bibs on it. I actually want your pool to be on it, and so when you're talking about some kind of, on the main stuff in here, life 2.5 million gallons, a pool that's 20,000 gallons that turns over on the coast 1.5 times in a year, it's your hose bib that you do stuff, not a problem. In fact, we do a lot with anybody who's growing anything organic. It's very, very important for raised organic beds and things. Okay, you want to get these chemicals and things out. So, to your point, cutting the water main and installing one of these systems generally will treat every hose bib that comes out of the structure. So, if you've got raised bed stuff that you're growing, you want to feed that bank of sprinklers from one of those hose bibs. I don't care about your lawn. I don't care about your decorative planter or any of those things. They can live with that. But if you're going to eat it and everything, like Billy was saying, all this stuff comes from the water, goes down, and then ends up in your food. So we pay close attention to each house, what everybody's really doing, because more and more people are growing organic stuff, and very, very important.
So then another question. So I have 2 houses. I got Costa Mesa, and then I have a house in a couple houses in Gardnerville, Nevada, property.
Okay.
And we run off of well water.
Okay.
So my well water's been tested, and they say it's probably some of the better water in the valleys. So putting a system on that, I'm not getting county water, city water. I'm getting my own well water.
Sure. Well, unless you're chlorinating the well, okay, so you don't have a feeder, so you don't have a feeder or any pellets or anything, then what we want to do with that is there's a relatively inexpensive company out of Ohio that we use for lab testing on wells, and it'll give you a range, and you should know for your own water, it'll give you a range of somewhere around 100 or 120 different things, including the heavy metals, which, by the way, this is addressing, which the two biggest heavy metals we're concerned about here are arsenic and chromium-6. So arsenic, naturally occurring, chromium-6, man-made, Aaron Brockovich. So what you want to do, I think, is I'd be happy to give you, it's National Testing Laboratories or watercheck.com, and for like $250 or $290, you can get the whole, they'll give you everything that's in there. Then we want to take a look at that because we don't want to over-design. And there can be all different kinds of things in wells. Wells usually have unique issues. A lot of times iron's an issue. And sulfur can be an issue. And you would be telling me that right now because you go, God, my water smells like rotten eggs. So
No, actually, it's pretty good water.
yeah, yeah, and sometimes the pH is an issue. Sometimes they're acidic and things. So I would start if I were your shoes, I would start by getting a test done on those two houses. Are they the same water supply or are they different areas?
I have one pump that supplies all 3 houses on there.
So you easily could just do a test at the wellhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really easy. Just freeze the thing and do all your bottles and then ship them out overnight. And so that's a really great beginning point. And then we take a look at it. And I certainly have seen some wells where we say, you know what, you don't need to touch it. But another issue is you're not chlorinating, and another issue with wells that we don't have in the municipal water, because all this, chloramine stuff, is bacteria. So, they usually test for E. coli and stuff. You probably don't have poop in there, but I mean, you can have other kinds of bacteria things that can breach the well. So, all that stuff can be tested for. So, with that,
Let's call up Mark
on up, Mark.
Sotinsky.
All right. I'm gonna have something with me. I want to show you guys this unit. So we will be talking about this. So I'm dealing with water like 40 years.
Let me tell you how I met. Can I tell them how I met you?
Don't remember. Probably.
I remember. I ordered a system from another water filtration company, and I paid a lot of money. I think I paid $1,700 for it, and then you came in and said I can get the system to you a lot cheaper than what you paid for it. And then I said, well, talk to me, because I've always wanted to be in the water business as far as filtration. So we started working together. I won't mention the place that you came from or who you worked for, but so what I'm saying, the prices that we give you guys are super competitive compared to what is out there, because I paid through the nose for the same system that you guys are getting for almost half what I paid for it. So
Yeah. In addition, our competitors, they offer quite like almost similar product, twice higher or 3 times higher. But anyway, so I'm working on water problems for 4 years now, and I realize how people thinking about water filtration. Many times I heard in families, oh, we don't need any filtration, we have refrigerator filter, and we totally got.
you have what?
Refrigerator, I mean,
Refrigerator.
from the cooling system. Yeah. I'm from Europe, so guys, so my English is the second language. And then
That's sexy.
so anyway, there is some issues with filtration systems. There is 3 different filtration systems today on the market. The most popular, they're working on absorption. So the filter which absorb chemicals and impurities, and after time is full of them, and we have to change. So that's the most. Those filters very cheap, very popular. You can buy online everywhere. The other filters, which used to be super popular like 20 years ago, based on reverse osmosis. It was the best option to purify the water. But people do not realize that reverse osmosis water is poison practically. It's no good to drink for long term. Reverse osmosis water is very aggressive, has very low pH, is very acidic, and studies shows that reverse osmosis water is actually dissolving human bones, scrapping from calcium and magnesium. We manufacture system. We shipping all over the world, especially to Europe, and we cannot. Our reverse osmosis system, just like this, cannot pass the border in Europe. European Union has much higher standards for healthy water than here in United States. Like Dr. Bill said, for many years there was no standard of any chemicals here in this country. So the study shows that even 2 weeks after drinking reverse osmosis water, we start losing the bone structure. I mean, calcium from the bones. Uh, and then, so that's the second option, and it's still popular. We can buy reverse osmosis filters in Costco, all kind of popular stores, and also online. Amazon, very popular. And the third option is to have state-of-the-art filtration, which actually apply all knowledge about water and health system, which will deeply purify it, has to remineralize the water, has to eliminate acid or pH levels, which is below 7, more likely when you're dealing only with reverse osmosis. And those systems are becoming lately more popular, but it's kind of secret about them, and more likely they're sold by multi-level marketing. And so I would like to talk about system which is today I will say Rolls Royce. Is the best which you can buy, is made in United States, is assembly in United States, and has deep purification, full remineralization. There is an option on higher pH level, which we need, higher than actually neutral or low. And also can do some ionization, so negative is ORP is negative, oxidation reduction potential is negative, and also we can make hydrogen-rich water, which is the latest and greatest about the healthy water on the market today. There are some available machines which create hydrogen-rich water just for this purpose. So I would like you guys to change idea about filtration. The standard filter water, which is in a refrigerator or maybe under the counter, just one canister, it is not what you guys thinking it will do. Those filters will not pass most of those chemicals. I mean, I will say those filters will not stop those chemicals. Those one canister filters, refrigerator, Brita, whatever name, it is for standard 42, which calls for aesthetic purpose. It means good smell and good taste. This standard doesn't cover heavy metals, doesn't cover fluoride, those chemicals which we're trying to avoid, chlorine, chloramine, and so on.
So what minerals are you putting back in?
We're using natural minerals, which actually goes more likely from dolomites. That's the natural source of minerals, and those rich in magnesium bicarbonates, calcium bicarbonates, potassium, a little bit sodium. It is the perfect natural source for remineralization. And then we're adding also some calcite. That's the material which is made from marble. It is crushed marble, which also has the structure of very good minerals, very similar in contents of calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium. There are online companies, especially on Amazon, they offer reverse osmosis alkaline filters. And we look those systems, we look what those remineralization system actually includes, and this is nothing else, just the calcite, which is actually marble, but this is not enough. The good remineralization system has to deliver higher than 30 milligrams of minerals back to water to make reverse osmosis prefiltration system, with this prefiltration system healthy. I would say whatever system we tested, they never ever deliver more than 10 ppm, which is lower than any requirements asking for in this in the healthy lifestyle. So if someone is using not really certified, not trusted sources of alkaline system, they're getting practically still very acidic water, very low pH, and very unhealthy. In addition, what I would like to say that some companies, because this calcite will not raise pH very high. It probably will go to 7.5, 7.8, which is very close to neutral. Some companies, they adding synthetic components called magnesium chloride, which is actually carcinogenic item. And what I know, water stores, some bottling companies, they're using this corrosive component, and it's carcinogenic. So it is kind of like misleading. It is cheap material, it's easy to raise pH. So that's why a lot of companies, they're using that component.
Okay, so raising the pH is going to make it more alkaline.
Yes, that's, the alkaline system very popular. A lot of companies, they're trying to provide alkaline systems, but there is many ways to make alkaline water. You can do alkaline water in 100 different methods, from chemicals, they are not drinkable, for chemicals which they use in industrial purpose. Some technology required higher pH, so some people may use those components. And then the very popular is electric ionizers,
It's like candy.
Kangen machines and similar ionizers. They're using electricity, metal plates. And the study shows that this is not alkaline water. It pH raised because the hydrogen proportion changed, but doesn't mean it is alkaline. Alkaline water, true alkaline water, has to be based on bicarbonates. And electric ionizers, they do not do this. There is some study, some information from doctors, whomever today owns electric ionizer has to add some kind of bicarbonates. The most popular is baking soda, so it makes more healthy for the stomach. And we're using this natural alkaline system, and we so far exchange with Kangen machine, which costs close to $4,000 for at least six models in the last 2 years. Some people, they couldn't stand drinking those Kangen water from electric, combination, and they switching to this. This is natural system, and we adding magnesium bicarbonate to water to create alkaline water, practically the same ions which exist in veggies. Veggies like broccoli, spinach, they can be in the pH level up to even 11, 10, 9, 10 is on average. So this is like almost drinking juice from veggies.
And that has different.
Yeah, you
said
can.
it's
Yeah,
7.5?
you can adjust the pH level from in this machine from 8.5 to 9.5. Some people asking why we need this. Because
So 8.5 is the lowest you can go?
8.5 lowest in this option. Some people asking why we need this. Members of families, they have different sources of information. People searching websites, and like every product, you name it, vitamins, whole house systems, whatever. There is 50% of audience who against this product, 50% who pro. So it depends whom side and whom you listening to, and more likely behind the whole situation about information is someone who is making money. If someone is making money on electric ionizer, so they will telling this the best option in the world. Someone who is like us, for example, we make in natural way alkaline, so we say electric ionizers based off also study and doctor data is not the best option. But anyway, the point of drinking lately is becoming more in science way more interesting. What is going on that we eating bad food. we stressed lately more than we used to be. And then, so our body is affected by environment and lifestyle. And then, so my approach to water is let's help those people today lifestyle and make better. We shouldn't drink water who has positive RP, oxidation reduction potential. We shouldn't drink water who will oxidize our body from inside, who will create more free radicals, who will not control inflammation, which will also not control bacteria, brain function, circulation. And the latest study shows that having hydrogen-rich water, it will eliminate those issues, and is really kind of like offering a solution what we facing every day today with lifestyle, food, poisoning of injections and stuff. So I would say this system here is made from the best possible components, made in US, made in England, all tubings, connections made in England. The only part is made in Taiwan, which is the water storage tank. And everything else is not Chinese. And all parts are certified, all minerals inside a certified, fully saved system to have. Water tastes incredible. For our 4 years, and with this product 15 years later, we never advertise. I never ever advertise, and we're super busy. We have orders because this water tastes unbelievable. Like whomever, I'm saying this is dangerous machine, because if people will start drinking this water, they cannot swallow any other ones.
It's true. How often do you have to change the filters on those? I know, but I'm like.
Yes, like every filter has to be serviced. There are some parts which they working on absorption. Those pre-filters which protect the heart of the system, which is a reverse osmosis membrane. And a reverse osmosis membrane can be damaged very quickly by chlorine or chloramine even. So it has to be protected. So those two filters has to be replaced every 4 years. The replacement of those two cartridges is only $56. Those remineralization, this system also make ionized water and hydrogen rich. So there is some minerals which, when the membrane water is flushing, is dissolving a little bit. So after about from 12 to 18 months is losing, amount of remineralization, maybe power of pH and high hydrogen level in the system. So this thing has to be replaced every 12 to 18 months, and today costs only $145. Very inexpensive. The system is much more expensive than $140 because the intellectual properties, like I have this fancy watch which costs $400, make production is maybe $15 or less. So intellectual properties.
Okay.
And in addition, there is nothing like this on the market today. I strongly believe that no one is gonna find something this quality what this product is.
And I believe you. Any questions for Mark?
How about installation on those?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Installation could be very simple. It could be a little bit pain in the butt sometimes.
There was a pain in the butt at my house, right?
Actually, what happened is only 3 points of connections to connect to water source, connect to your faucet, drinking water faucet, and connect to the sewer pipe. Because this is a reverse osmosis system and it's cleaning itself. Yes, it takes we were talking about just Jesus.
50%?
No. This atomic components, how do you call this? It's from anyway. So there are. This is self-cleaning system. So whatever water you take, it cleans immediately after any use and is flushed into the sewer pipe. So 3 connections points. Connect to the sewer is very easy. Connect to the existing water pipe is super easy because we have the attachment, keys. Goes installation package is very universal for any layout. The more difficult is actually to connect to faucet. Countertop sometimes may not have available hole to put half-inch faucet to it, so then we have to drill. But many times people may have soaps, may have some other, maybe like even air gap from dishwasher. We can use those holes to locate faucets. And goes with the very good manual. It's like a picture, step-by-step manual. So if someone doesn't understand wording, so can you look the picture? Okay, I'm gonna do this, that. It's like, but even if someone will have problems, always local handyman, plumber can do it. Actually, for the quality of water and the health benefits, to paying extra $200 for installation to me is not really big deal.
So any plumber can do it.
Yes, totally. Yeah. And in addition, we have full service. We have customer service. We have technical support. If someone break the parts somewhere during installation or through the shipping or whatever, we always shipping for free. Okay, you have it, do it, and finish. You have a question?
Yeah, my question was, you said there's 3, so drinking under the sink, sewer, and then what was the other one?
Faucet,
Faucet.
sewer connection, and drinking water connection.
Tank, sorry.
And
And the tank.
yeah, say that, but yeah,
Easy.
yes.
Easy, but yeah.
I mean, this
But
is
You're doing $200 is what you're charging for installation. You guys, standard plumber comes out to your house to do that, it's $400.
oh really today?
Oh yeah, today, easy.
Oh
Yeah,
my
so
God.
it's a great bargain, plus you know what you're doing.
You know,
Plumber to come in for $400 and break everything. Yeah,
yeah,
so that's a
it-
really good deal.
It happens. This is a sophisticated machine. You know, more likely plumbers, they do the big stuff, pipes, valves, and this is kind of a little bit. So, but anyway, they can always call us, and we can answer and we can follow step by step how to finish installation.
What's
the
the
po-
availability of it?
Practically at this moment, anytime. We manufacture this. I manufacture this system, so we have the full team to support
Plus we
sales.
You brought how many systems with you?
Today I have 3 systems.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So that's pretty available.
and Dr. Bill knows what the price is.
Yeah, we've got the price. It's usually $13.97. We took $400 off tonight, so it's
Wow, that's
$9.97.
very cool.
Yeah.
There is, so this is ionized water, alkaline and hydrogen rich, and very compatible with this quality water are those electric ionizers. They cost up to $4,000,
And more than that.
More than that.
and
Yeah, way
more
more than
even
that.
this.
Congan's
There are
59.
some Chinese companies through the Amazon. You can buy like $600-700, but guys, trust me, you're not gonna like it for sure. And then the product comes from China. You don't know what is the inside. You don't. There is no any certification on it. Real certifications. And again, ionizers, they produce artificial alkaline water, and then metal plates, the leaks, all kind of problems.
Yep.
And they talk to you, so you need another person screaming at you in your house. Alkaline 8.5.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
Does
Yeah.
anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, can you hook that up to like your refrigerator for the ice or the freezer?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can tee off to any other options like ice machine, refrigerator. Except there is some sub-zero refrigerators which they required very high water pressure to open the ice maker or whatever. In my 20 years of installation similar systems, once happened that we have to use a repressurized pump because the refrigerator was like crazy. They needed very high pressure to actually start working. But on average, no problem at all.
Let me ask you something. With the system that I have with the dual tanks, it's okay for me to periodically drink the water, right? I mean, it's not going to be
Yeah,
as pure as
I mean, you want
this.
some perspective on that. This is kind of what I tell our clients. At the whole house level, what we're achieving is meeting the federal standards for a mountain spring bottled water. So let me define that. It has all the natural mineral content left in place. Whatever's coming in from the city, usually, as you guys talked about, calcium carbonate, magnesium, potassium. It has the gaseous chemicals and things addressed and gone, and the chloramines, the disinfectants, and all those things. It has the heavy metals addressed. So again, the two key ones on the coast are arsenic and chromium-6, and that's what you're going to get. It like depending on where you are, you might find that you might, if I compared it to a bottle of Arrowhead Mountain Spring water or Fiji or Crystal Geyser or Glacier, it's going to be right in that same category. We are not in your house. We are. If we do a dual tank system, we can greatly reduce the fluoride and address that. But with the base systems, we're not addressing fluoride. So now you move to Mark's system, and now you have a purified, remineralized water that has the pH set up in it. And this pH also on ours in almost all municipalities is going to sit, generally speaking, 7.8 to about 8.2. So that whole house water is slightly alkaline. This is you're going 8.5 and up, right? So it's a step up.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then you got the hydrogen aspect to it.
Rich water, correct.
But
yes.
the fluoride, the radionucleoides, you guys, that's coming out.
That's what I couldn't.
Yeah, those. So uranium.
Is
Yes.
uranium
Strontium.
It will reduce or eliminate. Yes.
Those will get
Yes.
done in there. The ultimate setup is to augment whole house with that, and in your kitchen be able to choose whatever water you want. But I mean, I drink my water upstairs all the time
I know,
because
I do.
yeah, I mean, it's great. They're two different flavor profiles. You know, this where you're stripping it down to a low mineral, and then you're adding back a mix of natural minerals and the hydrogen in your setting that pH. That has one flavor profile, and a natural mountain spring type water with the natural minerals in it has a different flavor profile. And some people love either or. I like the ability to have both. You know,
A little variety, right?
yeah, a little variety in there.
A little uranium and wine.
Glow in the dark.
All right, any more questions? So we can wrap it up. Is there some tacos left over there for anybody?
Yes, of
Okay,
course.
The shower.
I'm gonna
shower filter thing?
What's that?
I don't think we talked
give you
about
guys
shower
brochures.
The shower filters are going to be a good, like if you can't afford the whole house system or you're
If
renting,
you want to fill that out, then